The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we got a fun show planned for you. We're going to be talking about the annual Alzheimer's Walk and all the great things, great fun, and great cause that go along with that. It's going to be a little different this year because of course we're living in a different age of COVID. We're going to tell you all about it. Don't go anywhere. We have lots for you.
Montanans are independent. We're also responsible, protective, and committed to our families and communities. That's why we've done so well against COVID-19. As we open up, we've got to keep doing what we do best. And it starts with each and every one of us, protecting public health in the 406 for our families, friends, and neighbors. We all have to do our part. Montanans get that. And we've got this.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, but my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and like I said, we have a fun show today. We're going to be talking about the annual Alzheimer's Walk. Now, we've talked about that walk many times here at Aging Horizons, but this year it's going to be a little bit different, maybe a lot different. We're in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and so in order to keep everyone safe and healthy, many organizations and events have gotten pretty creative to figure out a way that they can still bring their event to you in the community and get involved, and I think you're going to have fun. I have a couple of great guests with us today. We have, first of all, Lisa Day. Hi, Lisa. Nice to have you. And Lisa is a development lead for the Alzheimer's Association of Montana. And then we also have Valerie Yanner. Hi, Valerie.
Hello, Kimmy.
And Valerie is the walk manager. I'm sure you both do many other things, I'm sure, but you're the walk manager for this awesome walk for Alzheimer's. So, Valerie, let's just start with you. First of all, I've noticed in the papers and such that there's a new awareness campaign regarding Alzheimer's, something called Know Where Alzheimer's Hides. Why don't you talk a bit about that? That sounds very intriguing.
You bet. First of all, thank you, Kimmy, for having us today.
Sure.
We're honored and we're just thrilled to be here. The Know Where Alzheimer's Hides campaign, it's an incredible campaign, and we're super excited to see it out in the community. We're thrilled that we're already seeing it in the papers and whatnot. This campaign aims to shed light on Alzheimer's disease and all dementias. You know, as we know, Alzheimer's disease is the most under-recognized health crisis,
Right.
not in our nation, but worldwide. And so this campaign is really aiming to break down the stigmas that are associated with this and to bring to light this disease in all of our communities.
Yeah.
And also to connect our community members with the critically needed resources and support that they so desperately need. And
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, actually, it does feel like we're hearing about it more and more and more. How prevalent is Alzheimer's?
It's really quite unbelievable when you start listening and hearing some of these numbers. Nationwide, we're close to 6 million people living with the disease. In Montana alone, over 22,000 of our Montana neighbors and friends and family with this disease. The amazing part of that is also to bear in mind, with each person, there's usually 2 to 3 caregivers that are also associated.
Oh, sure.
You know, they're providing millions of hours of care at the cost, millions and millions of unpaid care that they're also providing. So extremely, extremely prevalent.
Yeah.
So
So what kind of, I imagine that there's many services and resources and that sort of thing out there, but what does the Alzheimer's Association provide? What sort of, your gold standard of services and resources?
You bet. So because we are funded by donations as well as by grants, we are able to offer our services at no cost to those that need it. We offer support programs, educational programs, which since March, we just pivoted very, very quickly, and we were able to offer our educational programs and support virtually, both online as well as by telephone. Our reach has really ironically increased because we have added those extra features. So we're able to do that, but probably our most prized resource is our helpline.
I was going to ask you to really expand on that a little bit, because it's an awesome resource.
It's an unbelievable resource. And even being a caregiver myself, I've used it, and I like to even call it, it's like a lifeline. And it is 24/7, 365 days a year, around the clock. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas Eve, if it's Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, Tuesday night at 3 a.m. Our trained professionals are there. Yeah. They are very, very highly trained. They provide guidance, support, ideas, sometimes just an ear, which in the midst of caregiving, sometimes that's the most vital thing that you need, is just somebody on the other end saying, I understand and I'm here. And so that helpline is an unbelievable resource that we also offer.
And I know that one of your missions at the Alzheimer's Association is, and you mentioned it, is to break down that stigma and to do away with the feelings of isolation and marginalization when you can or where you can. And I think, boy, the helpline just is a great resource for that. And also, these things happen at 3 o'clock in the morning where you need someone to just chat with at times. And so I think there couldn't be much more to give than that 24-hour a day, 7 days a week. I'm a caretaker, not of an Alzheimer's patient, but I know that there are times when you feel very alone, and that all you want is just a voice. And we know that to be true about the Alzheimer's support line, is that they're there and they're a voice. And often much more than that, right? Folks, we are going to have lots more about what services and resources you can get from the Alzheimer's Association, as well as a lot more information about the walk. It's fun. Stay with us. We have lots more for you.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here talking about Alzheimer's today. Lots of good information about the Alzheimer's Association, their staff, and the great walk that's coming up in a very short amount of time that you can get involved with. We have today with us Lisa Day of the Montana Alzheimer's Association and also Valerie Yanner. Both of you again, welcome and so glad you're here. We were talking about your campaign a minute ago, Valerie, but we have to wrap up a couple of important details. What are they?
The detail I really wanted to make sure is just how grateful that we are for some of the funding that came to us in order to even make this campaign possible.
Yeah.
This campaign was funded in part by the Montana Department of Health and Human Services, Administration on Aging, as well as the Administration for Community Living. And we're just so grateful for all of their support and partners like that in our communities. So
yeah, thanks so much for that, because I think we need to constantly remember we're a team, a collaboration, and without each of us as, sort of cogs in that wheel, we couldn't go forward. So wonderful to hear that. So let's switch gears a little bit, Valerie, and get over to what it seems like we talk about constantly anymore, and that's the COVID situation. Because as we know, it's not business as usual, but where, in terms of the Alzheimer's Association, what's going on for you guys with COVID?
You bet. And, during this coronavirus pandemic, the Alzheimer's Association has made a concerted effort to maintain our level of services while keeping those that we serve safe. Of course, that being our primary, our absolute priority. Since March, we have offered virtually all of our programs and services so that they are accessible online as well as by telephone. This pandemic has created increased challenges for families that already face challenges. Right. Some of them are separated from their loved ones that are in assisted living communities. Right. And, they're not able to visit. Right. Or others are caring for their loved ones, and they're now caring for them without the help of outside caregivers. And those outside caregivers are a vital role in process. And if they're now having to do this alone, it just increases the challenge and makes for even more of a stressful situation. So, adapting to the caregiving challenges that have been posed by COVID-19, it's been difficult for families living with or those that are isolated from. their loved ones that are living with Alzheimer's or other dementias. We do have a new program, and it is called COVID and Caregiving. You talk about being able to pivot on a dime, the association that, and we've created new programs, and it's really incredible. This COVID and Caregiving program does provide tips on how to adapt to the challenges that are posed by the coronavirus. It's appropriate for a wide population, for caregivers who are caring for someone that maybe is living with dementia, whether that person is in the home or in a residential community. And it's also for those care providers who are providing in-home support. Sure. So that's been an incredible program we've been able to add. And, we were always able to learn more about our programs, again, by calling that helpline number as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds to me like you have something for just about everybody.
I hope so.
What you just mentioned really covered the gamut of the people. And we have to remember it's people that are involved here. And our care for them is just really, really important. So that sounds pretty great. Well, and speaking of pivoting on a dime, one of the things I always love to hear about when you folks come to the show is about the research, the latest research. And I understand that the Alzheimer's Association hosted their annual international conference online this year. And if that's right, how many people took part?
It's amazing. This was just last week. It was hosted virtual. It was offered free. And it gave people an opportunity to see presentations and discussions about the latest Alzheimer's and dementia research. And there were more than 31,000 people from over 150 countries. Isn't that amazing?
It is. And, I saw the sort of email updates come through about it and was just so thrilled that was being made accessible. 31,000 people. Wow.
Yes. It was record breaking, and just so many people got to participate and see and hear the latest. Sure. And it enabled the world's dementia scientists to share and discuss the latest findings and to network and build new collaborations that generate the ideas that we need to lead to a world without Alzheimer's or all other dementia. So.
That sounds great, Lisa. And I know that we only have a few seconds, but what were a couple of highlights from your perspective?
Oh, yeah, there were quite a few. I think there were 3 studies that were presented that identify several early life factors that may influence late life Alzheimer's risk, including cardiovascular health, BMI, and quality of education. Health risk factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and being overweight as early as adolescence can influence late life memory and cognition, especially in African Americans. And higher quality early life education is associated with better language and memory performance and lower risk of late life dementia.
Well, and we know education is key, and folks were coming right back for some more education.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
If the Aging Network in Montana was a restaurant, the sign out front would say, over 50 million meals served over the last 30 years. Since adequate nutrition is critical to health and quality of life, nutrition services are an important factor in keeping older Montanans healthy, independent, and living in their community and home. To find out more about senior nutrition programs in your area, call 1-800-551-3191.
Final call from my
566.
Hello, gentlemen. May I see your Montana Real IDs?
IDs? Why, I'm Captain Meriwether Lewis.
And I'm Captain William Clark.
Hang on, I see more than one William Clark.
It's the real me, I promise.
Discover more at mtrealid.gov. Available now.
Montana Real ID. It's the real me.
And me.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here talking about the Alzheimer's Association today, about research, about new things in Alzheimer's, and especially about that really fun Alzheimer's walk that's coming up. I have a couple of just super guests with me today. We have Valerie Yanner. Hi, Valerie. Good to have you here. And we also have Lisa Day, both from the Montana Alzheimer's Association. And Lisa, you were going to just tie up a couple of little research points for us before we move on.
Really just wanted everyone to know that if they want more information and desire to learn more about the latest research, you can find out more about the AAIC at alz.org/AAIC. So they can look at everything that we covered last week.
Yeah, and you know, because we want to make sure that we've given people all this great education that they have a place to reach out, right? And get Absolutely. To us. Well, so let's talk about that walk, Lisa. You know, it's going to be somewhat different this year. The fall is when the walk normally takes place. So tell us what's going to be happening.
Well, Alzheimer's doesn't stop.
No.
So can we, right?
Right.
So we will be walking. Walk is everywhere this year. Every sidewalk, track, and trail. We are coming to a neighborhood near you.
Great.
So we're encouraging people this year to walk with their families, friends, colleagues, or as individuals. So Valerie and I are very excited because this year walk is in every corner of Montana. We will have walkers in Lewistown, Havre, Butte, Shelby, Miles City, Big Sky, Montana. So it's every corner of Montana, and that's really exciting to us. Sure. We will all join together for a virtual opening ceremony. And then from there, everyone will just go off and walk.
So, and what you're saying is that you can choose a group if you'd love to walk with some friends or family, and then you can really map out any route you like. And of course, we want to encourage folks, you're going to be outside, but remember good hand washing and masking if you think you need to, and social distancing. Even though you're outside, you want to just take care for yourself and for others.
Absolutely. Yes. We want everybody to be safe and do what they're comfortable with.
So, do people need, do you need a smartphone? Do you need internet access? How do you sort of take part? How do you get access to take part?
Great question. You don't need to have a phone. The walk is for everyone. Everyone can enjoy walking for a great cause. But if you do want to join in the virtual opening and promise garden ceremony, which is very moving and a great way to kick it off, all you need is a computer, a laptop, or your phone, and just go to the walk website, and there will be a link. You can click on it and join everyone for the virtual ceremony.
That sounds super. And, I guess one of the things that's very exciting to me about the walk is all the different partnerships and collaborations and just people working together to make it a big deal. So what would you suggest about how do we engage participants in our community to be involved?
Well, it's as easy as signing up is as easy as going to alz.org/walk, alz.org/walk. But we do have committees, and people are still welcome to join those committees and jump on the bandwagon and join us in the planning or in the walking or any aspect of it. We have awesome communities that have committees that are very passionate about this, just as passionate as we are, in all 6 of the walk cities in Montana. And we're just so grateful and blessed to have all these people that are so committed to work with. We also have 2 national presenting partners this year. We have Edward Jones back. Last week they signed a deal for 5 more years and $25 million. And then we have CVS. They're a new partner. So we're very excited to partner with both Edward Jones and CVS.
Well, and I know because we've had y'all on with Edward Jones in past years, so I know that they've been a good longtime partner. Congratulations for bringing a new one on. But I guess I want to also just remind our viewers that you don't have to be CVS or Edward Jones to get involved. You can be whoever you are, and like you said, just go to alz.org. Take a look at what's there and get involved.
Absolutely. And we welcome everyone and anyone. We need everyone, and everybody can get involved. Every dollar, every person makes a difference.
Right.
And, you can go to the helpline, 800-272-3900 to learn more. I want to share a story.
Sure, please do.
Really quickly. There's a gentleman who lives in Butte, and he picked the Kalispell walk. We saw his name come up on the walk list for Kalispell, and we did a little digging, and this just really encompasses the whole thing for Val and I. And this is what he said on his Facebook page. There is no walk in Butte this year. I will not be able to drive to Kalispell to participate. He has a bad knee that has prevented him from doing so. And so he's walking what he calls Peg Leg Sam's solo walk for Alzheimer's. I will walk from Father Sheehan Park to the Visitor Center. There will be no balloons, no awards, no inspiring speeches, no fanfare. I do not need that. It is driven by the frustration you feel when a loved one has this disease and you feel helpless. Every visit to them tears at your heart. So I'm asking you for donations. And he goes on and asks people to join him in this cause. And that to us just says it all. And it just reinvigorates us to keep doing what we're doing. Walk is really
just lovely.
Our mission.
Yep. Valerie, Lisa, thank you so very much. And we will join you on that walk. Goodbye, everyone.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.